Prima Media's Mining Weekly is speaking to Natasha Viljoen, the CEO of Anglo Platinum, which has just declared a half-year dividend on solid financial results that guide production of up to 4.4 million ounces of platinum group metals for the full year 2022. Natasha, thanks so much for speaking to Mining Weekly. Anglo Platinum has been beyond brilliant to launch the world's largest hydrogen mine truck. When can we expect a second new-gen hydrogen haul truck to be deployed? And how long is it going to take to be fully commercial?
The first pilot, as you know, has been launched early in the year, and that truck has had some final changes to be made before we can put it into the pit, and it will go full operational mode from August. The second prototype is already underway, where we are taking learnings from our first truck in developing our second prototype. And I think, Martin, it's important to recognize that as we were driving to get the first prototype out to market as soon as possible, we've used existing components and retrofitted it into an existing truck. The next prototype is already learning from some of the engineering design and also the layout. So all of that is happening as we speak. And then we're targeting to have our full fleet replaced, as well as not only our fleet, but certainly the broader fleet for Anglo American by the end of the decade.
And so that'll be at Mogalakwena and all your operations everywhere in the world.
That's right. So it is a truck fleet of just over 400 trucks. If we look at Anglo American's full truck fleet, 40 of those at our Mogalakwena operation.
So that's when we can expect a sort of greenness to come to Amandelbult, because you're saying all of the operations will be covered, all of those in South Africa and elsewhere.
I think, Martin, probably important just to remind our listeners, Amandelbult is a slightly different kind of mine. It is an underground mine, so not as reliant on the hydrogen fuel cell heavy-duty applications, but they are very reliant on our regional renewable energy ecosystem that we're also developing with our major shareholder, Anglo American. And it's targeting between 3 and 5 gigawatts of renewable power to not only take the South African operations to a fully renewable feed source, but we'll also have additional power available to make available to the grid and have community participation.
So you've just about got a green hydrogen footprint at Mogalakwena mine in Limpopo. Is there any way that that green hydrogen footprint can also be extended to promote energy for local communities, or is that out of the question?
It's absolutely part of the question, and I think it's such an important part of this journey for us, Martin, and it supports the just transition that we require in our country. So we have announced the first 100 megawatt PV plant that we are building at Mogalakwena that will be used to generate green hydrogen. And in that project, we have a 10% free carry for our communities. So our community participation is really important for us, not only for the economic development that it will bring, but certainly also to help decarbonize the broader South Africa. I think beyond that, there's probably something that's even more exciting. It is the potential for SA Inc. to become an exporter of renewable energy. Now, that seems a little bit far-fetched, probably, if we think about the current challenges that we have. We don't even have enough power for ourselves, let alone to export. The reality is, with that kind of new economic sector, I'm hoping that it can create such new potential for us as a country that we look beyond our current challenges, really drive the renewable energy space. It is an opportunity for us to make sure that we are self-sufficient as a country, but also create a new industry in exporting of energy, and then obviously bringing back so many other industries that we've lost over many years. There's so many old mines in South Africa. Carbon capture and storage is one of a number of tools that we have available to decarbonize society. It is definitely a potential to understand what can be done in many of our existing old mining operations. But as Anglo-American, there's also work being done in looking how we capture it in some of our own tailings dams, certain of the mineralogy like kimberlites, for instance, being quite amenable to carbon capture and storage. So certainly even more opportunities for us as South Africa in alternative ways to decarbonize.
And I used to get taken to this technology company down in Ellensfontein, and they used to show me like 50 years ago just about how they would drop the water from the surface and it would turn turbines and it would generate the electricity when that electricity was needed. And then when they had surplus electricity, they'd pump it back into the tanks above. Is this the sort of concept that we can look forward to?
Yes, that's perfect. And what we're also doing, Martin, is to look how we utilize natural topography in our mining areas. So one such area is close to our Mototolo mine, where the natural topography allow you, when you have a dam at the top and the dam at the bottom of the mountain, pumping up water, and then when you've got additional energy, as you say, and then to drive energy generation on its way down. And that's obviously a very clean way of generating and storing renewable energy.
And this whole decarbonizing situation, the world wanting to decarbonize, but looking closer to the mines, how could community job creation be enhanced by the need for mines to decarbonize?
I think firstly, there is the opportunity to get involved in renewable energy generation in the construction and then maintenance of renewable plants like solar plants, as an example. But I think that's probably just the tip of the iceberg of what could be unlocked, because as communities start to get access to energy, and I think the other important factor is access to water, there's significant potential for other local economic development that's not possible if you don't have energy. There's also the possibility for us as South Africa to bring back some manufacturing that we've lost over a period of time. But then there's other aspects. We know that the University of Cape Town, for instance, recently patented a technology that could reduce the manufacturing of membranes in fuel cells by as much as 20%. And they're working with Bambili Energy to bring fuel cells to local manufacturing. There's that opportunity. So there's many add-on opportunities. We, for instance, looking as we're thinking about the commercialization and rollout of our trucks, how do we bring the knowledge and skill of maintenance for fuel cells, maintenance of the powertrains, that's a combination of a fuel cell and a battery, bring that all into local communities. So there's so many additional opportunities that we need to create, and that opens up the art of the possible. And it underpins our support for just transition, which I think in a country like ours is really important.
What progress has been made through the partnership of your group with EDF Renewables to generate renewable solar, wind, and water power?
Martin, again, a very exciting space where we are looking at these partnerships, and it's developing very well. We are ahead of where we would have liked to be in creating this opportunity to generate between 3 to 5 gigawatts of renewable energy for South Africa.
And how much public-private collaboration is going to be needed?
You can't overemphasize the importance of public-private partnerships. I think, and I want to bring in there thinking about how we think about society and our communities as well. It is important for us to work closely with governments and Eskom. I think government creating an environment with the necessary policy frameworks to allow us to generate, like they have with the independent power producers, supporting us, and Eskom in developing the required transmission lines, and the regulation on how we get to wheel energy are all very important parts of how we need to work closely together with government in making that possible. I think the opportunity for us to decarbonize and use this energy crisis that we have to set us on a new path of economic development crucially needs this public-private partnership to succeed.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly, interviewing Natasha Viljoen, the CEO of Anglo Platinum.